Hi folks, welcome back to the Nest. Viper here. Wars of the World Series 1, 7 Years War. Coming straight to you, here comes Nato with another round.
Hello everybody, this is Nato at the Nest with the first half of the 1756 year of the 7 Years' War. And the big news is England and France are finally at full-scale war. And pursuing that, the British went after the French Navy with everything they had. And so, getting into that, these two French frigates, they used to be Sea Zone 44 right there, and the British attacked it with two frigates of their own, and the French Navy seems to have shed the curse of always losing, like I mentioned last term, because those two French ships sunk that entire British squadron, and the two French ships in 33 and 34 were both sunk by England, but they managed to take a British frigate with them. And the French frigate off the coast of India was sunk as well, but also once again took a British ship with it. So the final tally is the British lost 4 frigates and the French lost 3. So the French actually came out ahead in that naval fight for once. So that's good for that's good on France. Unfortunately, England still has 4 times as many ships as France does, so it was really a hollow victory. On land, sorry for the fuzzy picture there. On land, England continued to try to go after Ontario, and they failed to take the territory, with France losing 1 militia and England losing 2 cavalry for it. So tactically, England lost that battle. Strategically, nothing changed. And the battle for the Appalachians, see if I remember correctly, that more or less was a British defeat as well, because if I remember, England lost a militia and France didn't lose anything, so that was another tactical defeat for England. So the only actual success England had on land was England took Chicago. And yes, I know 1756. Yeah, I know Chicago didn't exist in 1756, but I'm using a World War II era map, and I don't have a 1750s era map. So I'm working with the limitations of the map, so hopefully you can forgive me. And the other land battle was in India, where this war has truly gone global. England moved down into Calcutta and took that from France, and yes, once again, I know that France, in real world France in 1756, didn't have Calcutta. Calcutta wasn't even a thing, at least in the terms that we understand it today. Once again, working with a World War II map, so bear with the territorial inaccuracies for a 1750s world. So strategically England had a good turn, because English production is now in the 40s. It went from 30 to 40 something, and France's production has dropped down to 20. So remember, at the very start of this, England's production was only 10 greater than France's. Now it's over 20, so England has now doubled the production of France. So strategically, this turn was a big turn for England, a big success. However, tactically, England kind of lost because in gaining those strategic resources, England actually lost more units than France did. Granted, England can replace those a lot easier than France. So, bottom line is, the turn was a strategic victory for France, strategic victory for England, excuse me, but a tactical defeat for England as it lost more units than France did. Let's see, Prussia did nothing different from the last turn. France's turn, after withstanding the onslaught of England, France played defense this turn, didn't attack anything, just moved some forces around, tried to reinforce where it could. That French squadron that was so successful in Season 44, they moved it down to 74. Possibly maybe thinking about maybe trying to escape into the Mediterranean and rebuild a fleet to re-engage England at another date and time. Austria didn't do anything different. Russia didn't do anything different. Sweden, Portugal, and Spain didn't do anything different. So that was the big news of the turn. Oh, I don't think I showed you this, but there is a western half of this board. It's probably not going to be relevant, but Spain's territories in the western half of North America. And that's it for the turn. Next turn, the war escalates once again as Prussia and Austria will be joining the war next turn. So we'll see you there. See you there for the second half of 1756 and the escalation of the war into now a truly global conflict, as we just saw major fighting in India on the other side of the planet. So we'll see you then.
Hi guys, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. Nate will be right back with the second half of that round.
Hello everybody, this is the second half of the 1756 year in the 7 Years' War, and I'm going to do this video a little like how we did the first one because we have two new players into the war. Prussia and Austria have now joined, so I'm going to do the first half with kind of a basic overview of the strategy, since because of the two new players, the strategy for England and France is going to change, and two whole new strategies because of Prussia and Austria. So nothing's been moved since the last video. So now that Prussia's in on the war, England is probably going to take some of its money and lease it to Prussia, because we remember one of England's primary victory objectives is to keep Prussia in the war. So England's going to be lend-leasing as much money to Prussia as it can to give it advantage over Austria and to bolster Prussia up as much as possible for when that big horde comes steaming across the steppes. And then also England going to be utilizing those transports to land British ground forces in Europe, wherever a hot spot flashes up, because that's going to be for the British faction. That's going to be England's key to victory, is using that navy to land troops wherever they're needed, and with naval superiority that they more or less have at the moment, because England has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frigates in the Atlantic to France's 2. So England can land troops pretty much anywhere with impunity, so that's going to be, I think that's going to be a big key to British victory, is utilizing that navy to land troops wherever the land war in Europe is critical. And see, Prussia, I think Prussia's opening strategy is probably just going to be to slam Austria with everything it has as much as it can. Austria's production's at 10, and if you remember, if the zone is like the Axis and Allies 1914 game, if the zone is contested, they don't get the production for it. So if Prussia goes before Austria, so if Prussia straight out of the gate hits the Sudetenland and Munich, and then if they can coordinate with England and have England land in Western Germany or something, that could contest 3 out of 4 Austrian territories. The only uncontested territory left would be Austria, so that could potentially reduce Austria's economic production from 10 all the way down to 2 in one turn. And if Prussia and England can keep the pressure on Austria and France, if England can take North America and take India from France, that's going to put France's production down into the teens, reduce Austria down to 2, and then keep that pressure on Austria and France. That could potentially be enough to hold off the big Russian bear that's going to be steamrolling across sooner rather than later. So that being said, Austria, it's gonna just have to hold on for dear life. France is gonna have to hightail it east as fast as possible to take some heat off Austria, and France and Austria basically just gotta do whatever they can, attack wherever they can, but mostly just play defense and hold ground until Russia can come across and tip the balance back into France's favor. And also Sweden, Sweden and Russia join at the same time, but it's going to take a little bit longer for Sweden to get its forces down across the Baltic, or sorry, around the Baltic. They don't have any ships, and even if they did, England wouldn't allow them to use it. So it's going to take a little bit longer for Sweden to get around the Baltic. So it'll be Russia hitting first, and then a couple turns later, Sweden, sorry, hitting next. So England and Prussia cannot be timid. They have to be aggressive as all hell and just attack to reduce France and Austria enough to where they can have a chance against Russia and Sweden. And that's pretty much the basic strategy that we've imagined for this next for this turn. And we'll come back with part 2 of this video at the end of the turn and see how everybody fared. Alright, see you soon.
Hey guys, hope you really liked that. A couple of credits to throw out there. Merchants and Marauders from Z-Man Games, Risk from Parker Brothers, Axis and Allies of 1914 by Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, and of course, historicalboardgaming.com. Thank you, Nato, for narrating these videos. And don't forget to subscribe. And if you like what we're doing, get a squat on that like button. We also want to hear your opinions. Keep in mind that we are developing this game as we go along. So if you have any opinions, you have any comments, go ahead and shoot those below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Appreciate it, guys. Viper here, Viper out. Thanks for watching The Nest.